Hello, Lost Ark YouTube. Welcome back, guys. I know I've been on a little bit of a hiatus from YouTube, but it is official. We are back. So today we are going to talk about something very important. I've been getting asked this question a ton over the last few months. Like a ton. So much. It is about the Ark Passive system. With Tier 4, we got this huge new update to how you build your characters, and this upcoming week, February 26th, they are rolling out this system to basically be active universally across all characters at endgame. Now, if you're just coming back to the game, or if you haven't actually gotten to the point of the game where you would be using Ark Passive yet, you might feel a little bit overwhelmed because you learned how to build your characters this one way, and now everything is changing. I'm here to tell you that it's not as overwhelming as you might feel. So we're going to walk through things one step at a time. I'm going to try to get through this as fast as I can because it's really not that complicated, but it's not all like in the same place. So it might feel a little weird the first time you're trying to figure it out. Anyway, let's get started. I have my Gun Lancer here, who is a 1660 character who is using Ark Passive. Before the update, pretty much any characters under 1660 item level will not have been using Ark Passive, but now with the new update, every single character will be using it. You don't even get an option to use the old build. So with Ark Passive, there are basically 3 different windows that you need to know about, and what's going on in those windows that will contribute to your character's damage and their build, and everything with the Ark Passive system. Gems have not changed. They will not change at all. They're tier 4 gems now as compared to tier 3 gems. You know, maybe you haven't played in like a year. The card system isn't changing. The skin system isn't changing. What is changing is parts of the gear screen. So that's number 1. The engraving screen, that's number 2. And then this button down here where it says Ark Passive opens up a whole new window. This is window number 3. These are the 3 places that you need to go in order to build your character after the update. Okay, so first I will start off by saying, in case you didn't know this, your set bonuses on your gear, your armor and your weapon will no longer be active. Nothing matters here anymore. So your entropy, your nightmare, your yearning, whatever set you were using will not be in effect at all ever again. Okay, so it does not matter what pieces of gear you have on. Now you're probably wondering, like, you're losing that set bonus, but we're going to make up for that damage in other places. Okay, the next thing you're going to notice is your accessories here actually don't have engravings on them anymore. They also don't have stats. So we're going to build those things also in another place now. What is taking their place on these accessories is 2 things that are important. Number 1, the refinement bonus. So you'll see on this necklace here, I have outgoing damage, status ailment time bonus, and max HP. Okay. So obviously, if you're a DPS, you want things that are going to increase your damage. For example, on this one, outgoing damage. If you're a support, you're going to want things that increase your team's damage or maybe your healing and shielding capabilities. That's a whole nother system that you guys can look into, and you'll figure out as time goes on. For now, it's not that important. It's pretty straightforward. The next thing that matters on these accessories is the part underneath that says Ark Passive Points Effect. See how it says plus 10 enlightenment points down there at the bottom? So those enlightenment points will go to part of the window that we'll talk about later. The short form is as long as the accessories you have equipped are above quality 67, so 67 and above, I guess it's so technically above 66, it will grant the maximum number of enlightenment points that piece can give. Now your accessories can also be upgraded. You'll notice when you first get an accessory, it won't have the refinement bonus on it. It also won't have the Ark Passive points maxed out to the same number I have. The other thing is that depending on what point of the game you are at, the number of points and the lines that you can get on these accessories will also be different. Basically just a long-winded way of saying that tier 4 accessories are better than tier 3 accessories. And like before, the ancient accessories are better than the relic accessories. And you know, so on and so forth. There's also new bracelets that you can get. I don't even have one equipped right now. That's another thing. You probably don't have to worry about that so much right now, but that's another thing that will also increase the power of your Ark Passive build. Okay, the next window is the engraving window. So as I said before, your engravings are no longer on your accessories. This is where your engravings are, and this is the only place that you need to worry about building your engravings. It's very, very, very simple now. Before you had to math out, like, I need 5 of this,
and 3 of this, and 6 of this, and I need to read books for this, and I want to get +1, so, and I need to stone, it needs to be 7, 7 for the thing.
It's so much easier now. This is way better. Very, very, very simple. So if I go to a page that maybe is empty, right here. So this is what probably yours is going to look like before you put things together. And it's super straightforward. All you do is click this button, set engraving effect, and you're going to go through and you're going to pick the 5 engravings that you want to have equipped. You'll notice some of these engravings are higher than others. So like these ones at the top are they have the relic color. A little bit further down I have the legendary color. A little bit further down I have the epic color. Okay, obviously the epic ones are the worst. The legendary ones are in the middle. The relic ones are the best. The way this works now is that you just have to read books for every single engraving that you want to use. So before you only had to read books for the 2 engravings you wanted to have equipped. Now you have to read books for all 5 engravings. There's now a new quality of book, a new tier of book, the relic ones, depending on how long it's been since you played. The relic books are incredibly expensive. Do not worry about getting relic books at all, okay? I have 5 Cursed Doll relic books and 5 Adrenaline relic books, and I play this game every single day. Do not worry about relic books right now at all. So what I'm going to do is if I'm a new player, I'm going to read legendary books. I guess first I'm going to read epic books of the 5 engravings that I want. Then I'm going to read legendary books. And it's the same number as before. It's 20. So you still have to read 20 books of each tier in order to have them maxed out and in order to move on to the next tier to start reading those ones. There's a small difference now in that you actually gain bonuses. You actually gain an increase to the power of that engraving for every 5 on the way to 20. So if you can't afford to read all 20 raid captain books that you need to read right now, whether it's the purples, the legendary ones, or the relics, you could only read 5 and you'll gain a quarter of the increase, right? So every 5 that you read gives you a bonus. I hope that makes sense. So what you're going to do is you're just going to go through and you're just going to right click them. You can also drag them across if you'd rather do that. And you're just going to equip the 5 engravings that you want to use for your class. Now, once you have that done, you'll notice that on my screen, 2 of them are highlighted. The 2 that are highlighted are the 2 engravings that I have on my stone. So if you have a stone cut from before, for the most part, stone cutting is the same as it used to be. You know, higher numbers are better. So the difference is now that you get bonuses for whatever engraving you're cutting based on how many nodes are there that you cut. So the levels, there's up to 4 levels for each line of a stone. The levels increase. Level 1 is at 6, level 2 is at 7, level 3 is at 9, and level 4 is at 10. So a 7/7 stone is still great. That's a level 2 and a level 2. That's kind of still the goal at this point of the game. You can kind of get away with having something a little bit worse. For example, on my Gun Lancer, I just have this 7/6 stone, and it's kind of just good enough. You know what I mean? Obviously, I still want something better, but I still gain bonuses from both lines on my stone, so I'm calling it good enough for now. Okay, once that's all taken care of, you just click save, and those are your engravings. Oh, the last thing I'll mention about engravings is that your class engravings no longer exist. So, for example, on my Gun Lancer, Combat Readiness, and Lone Knight, they don't exist as engravings anymore. They are in the next window that I'm going to show you guys. Okay, so the last window, and arguably the most complicated one, is completely new, and it's going to be where the majority of your character's build comes from. So this is the Ark Passive window. It looks like there's a lot, but I promise you it's not that crazy. So we're going to start off by covering the 3 different tabs in this window. There's the Evolution tab, there's the Enlightenment tab, and there's the Leap tab. So each tab, you'll notice in the top right, I have a certain number of maximum points that I could use. So right now I have 0 out of 120 points available because I've used all my points because my character is built. All right, when you first open this window, it's going to say 100 out of 100 or however many points that you have unlocked. And we'll talk about how to get points in a second. So each tree is unique. The points aren't shared across each tree. So my evolution points all exist here on the evolution tab. My enlightenment points all exist here. The leap points all exist here. Okay, so in general, the evolution tab is the same for every single character in the game. All of these nodes that are here will look exactly the same on every single class that you play. Now, what nodes you choose to activate are obviously going to be different depending on your build. Real quickly, we'll go through it. So evolution points are gained through, you'll see here in the top left of the screen, the evolution gear, through your armor. So depending on what armor you have on from different points of the game, it will give you a different number of evolution points. So right now I have on the most recent armor on this character. This is the A gear armor, the ancient stuff that you get in tier 4, and they give 20 evolution points per piece. The only other place you get evolution points from is leveling up your character. So a level 50 character will have 0 bonus evolution points. You get 1 per level. So going from level 50 to level 70 in the end game will give you the extra 20 points. So I have 100 points from my gear, 20 points each, and then the extra 20 points come from being level 70. Now, the points in this tree are going to be different depending on what class you play. I highly suggest going to Lost Ark Nexus or Maxroll or a friend who plays the class that you're playing who can help you figure out where to put your points into. But honestly, if you just read through them, most of them are pretty straightforward until you get down to the bottom here. This last tier of nodes is a little bit more complicated. I would suggest doing your research and figuring out what most people play for whatever class it is you're playing, and then maybe experiment with stuff a little bit further down the line when you know about a little bit more about what's going on here. The most important thing here is that most of these nodes between 2 and 3 will make up for what you're missing no longer having your set bonus. So, for example, if you were using Yearning, over here on the far right side, you'll notice these 2 nodes, if you put them together, actually kind of make up for not having Yearning anymore. The same can be said about some of these nodes, like this one has the directional attack skill, so this would make up for missing entropy. There's some stuff here about cooldown and MP consumption, which would make up for maybe the loss of nightmare. Weirdly, somehow I worked backwards on this, I don't know. But lastly, the top row, the very first one that you're going to put points into is just your stats. So your stats, like I said before, are no longer on your accessories. You just get to choose wherever you want your stats. So if you're trying to hit a very specific specialization threshold or a specific crit or specific swift to like meet the requirements of whatever your build is, it's really easy to do so now. If you're a class that is like trying to cap out crit at 100%, you can very easily just drop the crit or increase the crit when you do or don't have a crit synergy in your party just by clicking this button here, lowering your crit and upping your swift or whatever it is. So that's the evolution tree. So next up is the enlightenment tree. This one is going to be different from class to class. The enlightenment tree is what's making up for your missing class engraving now. So like I said before, my gun lancer no longer has lone knight or combat readiness as an engraving. Instead, now on this Ark Passive window, I'm going to have points put into a whole bunch of these nodes. So if you go down the left side here, you'll see they're actually, I think for every single class, there's actually one node that's probably named after the old engraving. So like Lone Knight is here and combat readiness is here. So if you don't actually want to read what these lines do and you just want to play the same build, you could technically just find whichever one is named and go down that line. As you probably expect, you have to finish the points in the line before you can put points in the next line. For most classes, these first 3 nodes will somehow come very close to what you had as your class engraving before. This 4th node at the bottom, down the straight line on each side, is usually new. For some classes, it's a complete game changer. For other classes, it's just a numbers increase. You can't actually get this node until you're further into the game, until you're further into endgame. Later updates, they'll give us more enlightenment points, and you'll be able to unlock this earlier. But for now, you don't have to really worry about this if you're just getting into Ark Passive. Lastly, we have these side nodes. These side nodes, you can kind of just put like wherever you want. So you see I have one down here and one over here. Depending on what class you play, again, like just go check out your build. You could read these as well and maybe just figure it out on your own. If you hover each of the nodes, they'll tell you how many points they take. The ones at the side here, you can also see sort of like grayed out. Okay, so you're going to get these enlightenment points from a couple different places. First of all, like I mentioned before, They're going to come from your accessories. So just getting new accessories, leveling them up and making sure they are the right quality is going to give you the most number of enlightenment points that you can get for whatever item level your character is at the time. Second, you're going to get enlightenment points again from your level. So I have an extra 20 enlightenment points just because my character is level 70 compared to a level 50 character. And then lastly, there are enlightenment points that you can get from collectibles in the game right now. If you need to go get those enlightenment points, there's guides online. You can also go into the codex. And if I search enlightenment point potion, it's going to show me all of the potions that exist. It's weird because this one doesn't actually exist in the game yet. I mean, maybe it technically exists, but it's unobtainable because you can't get this collectible yet. Anyway, yeah, so go get these potions. It's account wide, just like everything else. So very important that you get these as quickly as you can. Okay, the last tree that we have here is the leap tree. The points from this tree only come from two places. Number one, they come from your level, and number two, they come from your bracelet. If I were to use a tier 4 bracelet, like this one over here in my inventory, for example, you'll see at the bottom it says Ark Passive points effect, leap plus 9. So it would be important for me to use a tier 4 bracelet as soon as possible because obviously more points equals more power. So the first row here, the first 3 nodes increase the power of your hyper awakening, and then the 3 on the right here will increase the power of your hyper awakening technique, the T skill. Secondly, the nodes down here at the bottom, you won't be able to unlock these. As of right now, you won't be able to get enough points to unlock these until you're item level 1670 and doing Brel, but that could change in the future. I have no idea. Real quick, the last thing that I'll mention, because I know people are going to ask about it, is this thing over here, the karmic leap on the left. So all of these windows have a little karmic thing. You don't have to worry about this, again, until you are 1670 doing the Brelshaza raid. So for most people who are watching this, it's probably still at least weeks away, maybe months. So I wouldn't worry about it. But basically, these unlocks is a new system that you're going to be able to upgrade once you've completed Brel and as you're doing it on repeat. And leveling up these karma systems for each tree will give you extra points in those trees, except for the evolution one. You only get extra points in the leap and enlightenment trees. The evolution one just gives you I think flat damage increase and brand power or something. That's pretty much it, guys. So again, I highly recommend that you do 2 things. 1, go to Lost Ark Nexus or some other place where you can look up a build guide for your classes and figure out how your characters are going to be built now using Ark Passive. And 2, actually go through this Ark Passive tree and read these things yourself, because some of them might not increase your damage, but change the way that your character plays. That's pretty much it. Okay, one last thing I mentioned before I go, which is your weapon does not give you points for anything. Okay, guys, I think that's it. If there's anything that I missed, maybe just let me know in the comments. For those of you who do know what's going on with the Ark Passive system, if after all of this you still feel lost, do not hesitate to reach out. Come by the Twitch stream. You can join my Discord. You can send me a message. But I hope that I covered this as simply as possible. I rambled on a little bit more than I expected or wanted to, but I didn't want to leave any of the important information out. But that is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this helps, and I'll see you later. Peace! Oh, and don't forget your nutmeg kiss.